Hello everyone and welcome to the Deepbluerenegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deepbluerenegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 224. Today is Friday, March 30th, 2018, and I'm glad you could join me today. It's my birthday! It is the most likely day that I'm going to get the date written wrong. I never want to put the right year on that date. So I lucked out, and work was already off for Good Friday, so I didn't have to take a day off. And it was a super duper beautiful day today, so I have been enjoying my Saturday that is not a Saturday. And because it is a Saturday that is not a Saturday, and I'm going on a little trip tomorrow, it's a day trip, no big deal. But because of that, I was like, you know what, I should record today. So even though I'll get lots and lots of knitting done between now, whatever, and probably like Sunday night, it was super duper nice. I need an excuse to be outside. So we're talking about the whatever. Like, I think I have this feeling around 3:30. And then it takes me 15 minutes to get everything together. So I have my coffee. It's really 3:45, and we'll go with it. I decided not to choose the day drinking option. Really, it hasn't been all that exciting, so that's why I theorize that there actually is no difference between me recording Friday or Saturday or any other day, because really it's all the same. So I have been working on this baby blanket for my little brother, and ooh, we're just like pulling stitches off, which is not a good idea. So we'll make it work. This is some danger. Unfortunately, when it pulls off like this, I sometimes need to take back another row too, because if the edge stitch goes, that one's much more challenging to fix. So this is a Frankie Brown pattern called the 10-stitch blanket. Oh wait, I was in the middle of the row, isn't that weird? I think I just shoved it in my bag. So good news. I made it past the halfway point. So I have a little bit more than 300 grams of yarn. This is my discovery this week. Which I guess makes sense. What is it? I'm knitting this out of 3 different colorways of, and even like yarns of Cascade Heritage. So this swampy green is the Heritage Wave. This dark blue is Heritage Sock, and then this light blue is Heritage Silk. So this was the Heritage Silk I picked up at my LYS. The green I picked up at my LYS in Indiana way back when. And then this dark blue I got in a swap, a few years ago, I think, when I was still in Indiana. So you can see the graphic design that's forming. This is me doing 2 sides in 3 colors, and that's what's creating the back and forth there. And I have finished a stripe, and I have not made it to my last marker yet. I was a little bit worried about this previously, but now it's not a big deal. So this is where I was last week. So I have knit 3.5 sides since then. And that has gotten me from 40% to 50% on this blanket. So it is definitely a bit more substantial now. What would it be? I think when I had last measured it, it was like 20 by 19. So we'll see how big this ends up getting. So I was excited because I realized that I'd gone past the halfway point on this ball, I think I'm already past the halfway point on this one, and then the one I'm working right now is the one that's a little bit bigger than the rest for whatever reason, so we'll see how everything comes together. Maybe I will run out of one of the yarns that I need to build on the other ones. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So it is coming together nicely. I do like how this side looks, so I think it looks pretty nice. So right now I finished the light blue, knit an entire section of this green, and now I'm sort of close to half a row of the dark blue as well. So I ended up doing a decent amount of working on this while watching podcasts. What was it? I decided to actually start watching Amy Florence's podcast, so that's the Stranded podcast. So I've been catching up on all of the episodes there. It's been I would say it's very refreshing to hear an honest take on mental health, because you don't often, it doesn't tend to be talked about very often, and sometimes it's only with close friends, so it's really, I really appreciate her honesty with respect to that sort of stuff, because it's definitely, hard to talk about sometimes. So I've thought that has been super duper cool about watching her podcast, and also just she's like ridiculously productive. But maybe this is that strange thing when you watch podcasts from the beginning, and so they're like bam, 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 bam. I'm sure I seem super duper productive if you watched a bunch of these episodes in a row. So it's coming along. It requires it has only a certain amount of interest associated with it, let's be honest. So I'm really enjoying how everything's coming together. I'm getting pretty bored with knitting it. But whatever, I'm committed. So, oh well. I didn't end up needing to knit any baby hats to take the edge off. I did show some of my coworkers who've recently had babies the hats I made for my sister, and they're like, yeah, that one's 2-year-old, and that one's definitely newborn, so I think I need to maybe make one or two more and more middling sizes between those. I think that'll be okay. What is it? She is due at the end of April, I think. Whatever. It was sort of funny. She actually called me as I was walking to my massage this morning, and she was trying to get my niece Claire to sing happy birthday. She had a case of the shies. Maybe next year she'll be more trainable. We'll see. So that is where I stand with the blanket. I shall continue knocking this out until victory, I suppose. So it's probably decent in the dark knitting, as long as I have a little teeny weeny bit of light, then it's fine. So, we'll probably be leaving pretty early tomorrow for the day trip, so hopefully there'll be a lot of good knitting time on the drive and cliffside and all of the other fun stuff. So, that's a story there. I've not worked on anything else, but, yeah, really. I could have broken out some spinning. I was thinking of, spinning tonight as, a reward for whatever, doing my 15% of blanket this week instead. But instead I wound some yarn. before I decided that it was about time to record. So I've been showing off this yarn on the internet because I'm pretty pleased with how everything came up. So I ended up balling up everything in my Nest sweater spin. And so the next thing that needs to happen is I need to buy the pattern and figure out what needle size I'm swatching with. So what I ended up doing for sanity's sake was I actually figured out what order all of the balls went in. With the thought process being that I can just sort of smoothly go from ball to ball to ball, and then I can laugh a little bit about my piddly bit of chain ply that isn't probably going to even be worked into the sweater itself. So that's, I think in terms of like hitting one's mark with respect to 3-ply, this might be the world record. Like being like 3 inches off, it's pretty darn good. So, and that was like, would it be not too crazy? So I think I'm gonna use this ball to swatch from and decide what I want to do from there, or whether or not I do in fact want to alternate skeins, in which case winding them all in order was silly. But I'll take this end and swatch and see what comes of it and what I want to do and what needle size I want to use exactly. This one, like, it looks very purple on this side, but then you can probably see. We'll just bring it all the way in. Come on. There we go. So you can definitely see the oranges in there as well. So all sorts of interesting colors in here. It was very interesting to sort of get like the average color as it's like flying by being wound. So we'll see how everything comes together on this guy. All sorts of bright, cheerful colors in this yarn. What was it? I think that I've received the most peer pressure from the Fun Onions. They were most curious about what was going to happen with this yarn. So, seeing as I spun it as a part of a sal for that group, in addition to Poundathon and the whole other bit, I guess this isn't a big surprise. So, the plan is, and that's a not quite sort of a precarious pile, probably gonna fall over. I have a very interesting stack of all of those balls. So the plan is the Still Light Tunic by Vera Valamaki. So I'll have to buy the pattern next. Figure out what needle size I want to start swatching with and see how everything hits up, because that's definitely a point of curiosity for me. So, shouldn't be too crazy. I'm sort of intrigued by the whole idea of knitting it top to bottom in all in the same yarn, but like as one sort of continuous strand, but I know that's probably unrealistic. Oh well. And it is, what would it be? It is pretty firmly spun, so the idea would be that it's going to be a hard-wearing yarn, because I can only imagine, what would it be? The sort of wear you end up getting, because it is a much longer sweater than normal. So, it shouldn't be too crazy. But it would be nice to spin again. So last week I ended up showing you guys the Quilter's Magic and Blurple. So that is a spin along that ends at the end of May. So that's going to be the next thing that I start. And then I'll probably figure out what bin project I want to work on next. it was interesting to see actually what bin projects I even had queued up, so maybe it's the case where, or one that I might end up starting understanding that it is going to take a long time is doing a, I'll have to make sure that my friend Sarah is game for teaching, but I may want to do like a supported spindle project with my natural colored Hog Island. So, because that, oh yeah, a little bit of breeze made my tower fall. So, I'm interested in learning how to do supported spindling, and that is my smallest amount of fiber in the bin, so that could be an interesting knit night project to work on. So, it shouldn't be too crazy, but I am glad that yarn signified my first 5 months of in the bin, and it's the end of March, so definitely much further ahead this year than I was last year, so that's good. And hopefully I don't like go totally crazy pants and cast on a sweater. But I might. I'll just accept. I don't know, I really do want to finish the blanket, so we'll see. I'm super duper excited, because next week is DFW Fiber Fest, so that is the birthday present to myself. Talk a little bit about that, because this episode is going to be super duper short otherwise. I'm planning on taking 2 classes. Saturday afternoon I'm taking Jillian Moreno's Grist class, so that should be interesting. I'm sort of curious about, I think it's like not letting grist get you down or something like that, so I think that one will be interesting with respect to like hitting the yarn I want and getting the texture I want and that sort of thing. And I'm planning on bringing my failed matching skeins of sock yarn, because totally screwed that one up. Didn't even know I was screwing that one up. And I'll go through my handspun stash and figure out like, oh yeah, I'm not as happy about some of my products as I would like. What would it be? And some of it may just be some of like my weird construction things from last year that whatever. The other class that I'm taking on Thursday is the drum carter class with Clums and Clums, and that's actually an all-day class. After some thought and review, I decided that that I shouldn't go back to work on Friday, because I had to take the day off for Thursday. I was like, this is stupid. So, taking the day off Friday, and that will probably be my primary hanging out day. And then my knit group ends up meeting at the convention hotel for knit night on on Friday night and Saturday night, so that's always good fun to hang out with the out-of-town people and have extended knitting fun there. So, and generally there's eating out and hanging out and all of that other good stuff. Probably after Saturday, then I will be totally done, and that'll be fine. So, or what is it, on Sunday, I probably won't end up even going, so what would it be? It should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I have no clue about anything I want to buy at all. None whatsoever. So, what would it be? Someone had put like a de-stashed drum carter, and so I let on Ravelry, and I let her know like, hey, would you mind just holding on to this and taking a class? And I may want to buy the drum carter after the class, and I know for a fact that her price is better than the brand new drum carter price, so there's that. And that was including shipping too, so that was super duper reasonable. I'm not sure whether or not that drum carter would fit in my car. always silliness. So there's that as a possibility, but it's definitely a bit more pricey. I feel like I have like so much fiber and yarn and bags and all this other stuff. It's like, oh my gosh. 2017 was the year of gluttony. We better like make 2018 pretty chill. So I'll probably figure out something. They decided to expand the market this year. So they had been using one hall. I think they've actually expanded into 2 halls now. So they're able to accept a lot more vendors this year. So it'll be a little bit more searching around for stuff that I really mind. I tremendously enjoy enabling people. So sometimes it's fun to be someone's personal shopper. And trying to figure out what it is that they really want and look out for them. Because I like a little bit of purpose. I like a constraint. We can't have unconstrained shopping. There needs to be some intention. And then, for whatever reason, this year the podcaster meetup's happening on Friday. And since I decided to take the day off of work Friday, I will be there at the podcaster meetup. I'm not sure if I'm going to meet anyone who watches the podcast. Who knows? But I'm going to be there, and I'm happy to say hi. You know how it goes. So, would be. It's not like I have a ridiculously popular podcast. But, such is life. So, I will be there. Really, it's probably the only podcaster meetup I go to anyway, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Otherwise, I'm just hanging out with other podcasters like you. So, what that probably means is that, what is it? So, what this probably means is I'll be recording Sunday next week, because I'm going to be busy all of those other days. And it should be filled with fantastic fibery goodness, and because most of my knitting time this week is going to be happening after podcasting, there'll probably be lots and lots of knitting goodness to show you guys next week. So, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So, take care, guys. Bye-bye.